What if the strongest version of you wasn't buried in the future? What if he's already here, waiting beneath the noise, beneath the stories, beneath the soft habits you've used to survive? He's not a dream. He's not an ideal. He's a decision, and you build him every single day. Not through motivation, through discipline, but not the loud kind, not the grind kind, the quiet kind, the one that shows up, even when no one claps. You see, there's a version of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't explain, that doesn't need anyone to understand. He moves differently, he speaks less, he follows through. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, you bring him closer. You don't find the strongest you. You forged him. In the hour you wanted to quit, but stayed. In the rep you didn't want to finish, but did. In the apology you gave. In the screen you didn't check. In the emotion you sat with. In the mirror you faced when no one else was looking. This is the work. And it's not glamorous, it's repetition, it's self-respect, it's doing the hard thing with no camera on. Because that's what builds strength that lasts. Not pressure, presence. So the real question isn't, how do I become stronger? It's, am I willing to be uncomfortable long enough to let strength emerge? Strength isn't built in moments of ease. It's revealed in moments of choice, and you choose it when. You rest with intention, not avoidance. You say no when it's easier to say nothing. You slow down when your ego wants to rush. You stay consistent when your emotions beg you to bail. You don't need a new plan. You don't need a new program. You need new standards. Because you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your patterns. So change the patterns, change the reflexes, change the response. Let your default become depth. Let your fallback become focus. That's strength. Built from within. Start small. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Stretch before you scroll. Speak slower. Finish the task completely. Keep the promise, even if no one sees it. This is not about performance, it's about alignment. You're building a version of yourself that you respect, and that version doesn't need anyone's permission to act like he matters. You want to be strong? Start treating yourself like someone worth following. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because the strongest version of you, he's not louder, he's quieter, he's not impressive, he's anchored. He doesn't dominate the room, he commands it by presence alone. Because he's built on decisions no one applauded. He's built on mornings you didn't skip. He's built on moments you could have quit and didn't. So from this day forward, ask yourself, what would my strongest self do right now? Then, do it. Even if it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's boring. Even when it hurts. Especially when it feels like no one's watching. Because someone is watching. The future you. And he's waiting to meet you at the end of your excuses. Motivation is a wave, it rises, it crashes, it disappears. Sometimes it hits you at 6 a.m. and you're ready to conquer the world. Other times it's gone before you even get out of bed. That's the nature of motivation. It's emotional. It's inconsistent, it's unreliable. And if you build your life around it, you build a castle on sand. But discipline? Discipline is bedrock. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. Discipline doesn't wait for a perfect sunrise. It just shows up. Every time. Without drama. Because here's the truth. You will not always want to do the work. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always be on. But you can always choose to be disciplined. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Between talkers and builders. between someday and done. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect in action. It's the part of you that says, I may not feel like it, but I'll do it anyway because my future deserves it. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. Most people chase motivation their entire lives. They wait for the right mood, the right mindset, the right environment, but the people who move the world, they don't wait. They act. They do it tired. They do it scared. They do it while doubting because they know, if I only move when I feel like it, I'll never build anything that lasts. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't post. It doesn't flex. It stacks small wins silently until the world can't. Ignore the results. You don't need another pump-up speech. You need a system, a non-negotiable rhythm of commitment. Try this. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Go for a walk even if it's raining. Write the first paragraph, even if the page feels cold. Show up to your workout when your body says no. Not for the outcome, for the alignment. You're not training your muscles. You're training your word to yourself. Because every time you do the thing you promised, even when it's hard, you build trust. And self-trust is the foundation of self-worth. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a relationship between who you are now and who you're becoming. And the stronger that relationship gets, the less you need to feel motivated. You just move. You just build. You just become. This is what the Stoics meant by mastery, not controlling everything, but controlling your response to everything. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that mastery, it's not found in excitement, it's found in repetition. You want to be consistent? Then stop depending on emotion. Start depending on standard. Because when you raise your standard, your actions follow, even when your feelings don't. Here's the real test. Will you move without applause? Will you build without a witness? Will you show up without inspiration? If the answer is yes, you're no longer chasing the dream. You're becoming the kind of person who earns it. So next time you feel the dip, the I don't want to, the maybe tomorrow, don't argue, don't negotiate, stand up, and begin, even small, even slow, because discipline doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for presence. And presence, stacked daily, builds a life no wave of motivation ever could. There's a part of the journey no one can walk for you, not your mentor, not your partner, not your closest friend. They can support, they can guide, they can love you from the sidelines. But the step itself, the choice, the discipline, that's yours. Growth is personal, it's internal. It's earned one decision at a time and when no one else is there to carry the weight. And that's terrifying, because we've been taught to fear aloneness. To think that solitude means abandonment. That if no one is there to cheer, to validate, to hold your hand, it must mean you're doing it wrong. But what if it means you're finally doing it right? Here's the paradox. You have to do it alone, but you are not alone. Every time you rise at 5 a.m. while the world sleeps, you're not the only one. Every time you go to the gym when it hurts, you're not the only one. Every time you write the page no one will read, say no to the party, hold back the self-doubt, there are thousands of others in silence doing the exact same thing. Different city, different struggle, but the same fire. You are not the only one fighting for clarity, for dignity, for strength that can't be shaken. There's an invisible brotherhood, a quiet sisterhood, of people who choose depth over distraction, conviction over comfort, and though you may never meet them, you are not separate from them. But to feel that, to belong to that energy, you have to choose to stand in your own center, not lean, not seek approval, Not wait for someone to say, "You're ready." You walk, alone, fully, forward. And in that solitude, you meet a different kind of power, the kind that doesn't waver when someone leaves, the kind that doesn't collapse when things don't go your way, the kind that says, "This is my life, and I choose to rise." Discipline doesn't always feel supported, but it always leaves you stronger, because when you do the work alone, you build a self that no one can take from you. No breakup, no job loss, no setback. You've earned your ground. This is what the Stoics taught, not isolation, but self-responsibility. Marcus Aurelius led armies, but every night he wrote only to himself. He didn't wait to be understood. He didn't expect others to carry his values. He carried them, quietly, fiercely, because he knew no one can live your philosophy for you. That's the call. To stand where you are, to stop outsourcing your power, to say, whether they get it or not, whether they come or go, I am building. Because your real team, it's not people, it's principles. And principles don't leave. They don't ghost you, they don't flake. They show up when you do. So next time you feel the loneliness, not social loneliness, existential loneliness, the kind that whispers, "No one sees me. No one really knows what I'm carrying." Remember this: you are not being punished. You are being forged. Aloneness is not abandonment. It's alignment. You have to do it alone, because only you can know what your soul needs. Only you can feel when you're off. Only you can demand more from yourself and follow through. But as you walk, know this: there are others, in silence, in strength, doing it too. And every step you take, you walk with them. There's a trap that looks like healing, a trap that looks like self-care, a trap that feels like progress but isn't. It's the trap of feeling better without getting better. You watch the videos, you listen to the podcasts, you light the candles, you breathe deeper, you say the affirmations, and for a moment things feel lighter, more manageable, easier. But then, life hits again. And nothing holds. Because you weren't building. You were soothing. Let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with feeling better. There's nothing wrong with comfort. There's nothing wrong with doing what gets you through the day. But don't confuse relief with resilience. Don't mistake emotional numbing for emotional growth. And don't spend years mastering the art of managing your anxiety while never learning to dismantle the system inside you that creates it. Feeling better is temporary. It's bandage. It's air. Getting better is structure. It's discipline. It's blood. And the people who rise, who endure, who lead, create, and leave a mark, they get better. They train when they're tired. They apologize when it burns. They seek truth, even when it hurts. They change their reflexes, not just their mood, because they understand. A good day doesn't matter if it leaves me in the same place I started. Getting better is not aesthetic. It's not about crystals or quotes. It's not about journaling 5 pages a day. It's not about healing circles and cacao rituals. It's about confronting your patterns, facing what you avoid, cutting out what weakens you, even if it's comfortable. Choosing action over escape, again and again. It's not easy, it's not fun, but it's real. And that realness, that's where confidence grows, because confidence doesn't come from feeling amazing. It comes from becoming capable, from knowing, even if I fall apart, I've built systems that hold me. Not mood swings, not quick fixes. Foundations. The Stoics didn't believe in soothing the ego. They believed in fortifying the soul. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Why? Because we coddle our fears. We reinforce our stories. We build elaborate emotional castles on sand, instead of strengthening what matters: character, clarity, conviction. This is what you need: less scrolling, more silence, less distraction, more confrontation, less therapy speak, more inner truth. Not, "I'm working on it, but here's what I did today to shift it." Not, "I'm exploring, but I'm executing." Not, "I feel good, but I've gotten stronger." You can still rest. You can still breathe. You can still cry, but cry while lifting, while learning, while building. Because real healing, real strength, it's not fragile, it's fierce, it's earned, and it leaves evidence. So ask yourself, am I growing, or just escaping with better language? If the answer stings, good. That sting is your compass. It's truth. And truth isn't here to shame you. It's here to redirect you, to say, let's stop just feeling better. Let's get better. That means training when it's inconvenient, saying no when it's awkward, practicing honesty when silence feels easier, facing discomfort without numbing it with productivity porn. It means building a life that holds you, even when your emotions don't. This is the work now. No more false progress. No more hiding behind insight. No more spiritual bypassing. Just day by day, cut by cut, layer by layer. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't just feel okay for the weekend, but walks into Monday with unshakable clarity. Everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants the next level. More clarity, more strength, more control. We want discipline like a crown, confidence like armor, freedom like fire. But we forget something crucial. You are not entitled to any of it without effort. Growth isn't given. It's not your birthright. It's not something the universe owes you just because you've been through pain. Pain doesn't make you stronger. How you respond to it does. We live in a world obsessed with progress, but allergic to effort. We want mental health without discomfort. We want confidence without failure. We want transformation without repetition. But growth, real growth, isn't a moment. It's a process, a slow, gritty, invisible, unrewarded process. And if you're waiting for it to feel good before you begin, you'll be waiting your whole life. You see, entitlement wears many masks. It says, I've suffered enough. I deserve peace. I've been stuck long enough. I deserve a breakthrough. I've tried one, why hasn't it worked? But the truth is sharper. You don't deserve peace until you've earned the skill of creating it. You don't deserve success until you've practiced consistency when it's boring. You don't deserve breakthrough until you've hit the wall and kept showing up anyway. Growth is not fair. It's not clean. It doesn't care how long you've been struggling. It rewards one thing, effort, not once, not when it's convenient, daily. And not all effort is loud. Sometimes effort is holding your tongue when your ego flares, reading the page you don't understand, again, showing up to the gym when you feel small, saying no when your nervous system begs for comfort, finishing the last 5% of the task when no one's watching. These aren't dramatic acts. They're quiet choices. But those choices, they build the architecture of strength. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. They didn't believe the world owed them anything. They trained their minds like warriors, and they expected resistance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being." In other words, Don't wait to be in the mood. Don't wait to be inspired. Don't wait until your life feels perfect. Just rise and do the work. You want to grow? Then ask yourself, when was the last time I kept a promise when no one was watching? When was the last time I did what was hard? Not for results, but because it was right? When was the last time I rejected comfort and chose clarity? If the answers sting, good. That's the doorway. That's the moment growth becomes possible again. We are not punished by struggle. We are shaped by it, but only if we meet it with effort. Not just emotional effort. Deliberate, sustained, repeated effort. That's the currency of change. Feeling stuck? Good. Now ask, what effort have I avoided? Is it waking earlier? Setting boundaries? Following through? Sitting with discomfort instead of escaping it? Whatever it is, start there. Because the longer you delay, the more your system starts believing the lie. Maybe I'm just not capable. But capability isn't a trait. It's a muscle. And effort is the weight that builds it. You can light candles, say mantras, visualize a stronger self. But if you don't move your feet, if you don't take the next uncomfortable action, you will stay the same. And the longer you stay the same, the harder it becomes to believe that change is possible at all. So today, do something hard, on purpose, with presence, with pride. Not because it feels good, but because it builds you, and tomorrow do it again. That's the pattern, that's the standard, that's the path. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to choose effort over excuses. Every time. And over time, growth won't be a wish, it will be your new normal. There's a moment, a flash, a trigger. Someone says something, a look, a tone, a message, a mistake, an insult, and your chest tightens, your jaw locks, your breath shortens. You're not thinking, you're reacting. And in that split second, everything's on the line, your energy, your reputation, your control, because the way you respond in that moment reveals who's in charge, your emotions, or your discipline. Emotional reactivity is natural, biological, primitive. It's fast, it's impulsive, it's pure survival. But you weren't built just to survive. You were built to lead yourself. And leadership begins with emotional mastery. That doesn't mean you don't feel. You will feel. You should feel. But you never let feeling drive the wheel. You pause. You assess. You hold. Control first. Then respond. There is a quiet power in restraint. When you breathe instead of explode. When you step back instead of lashing out. When you say not now to your ego and wait for clarity. That's not weakness. That's warrior level strength. Because anyone can react. Animals react, children react. But to feel the fire rise, wheat, and still hold your center, that is what separates men from boys. Women from girls. Leaders from followers. You want to be strong? Learn to master your pause. Not the pause that suppresses. The pause that reclaims. That says, I am not here to be owned by every trigger. I am here to own my response. Here's what that looks like in practice. You receive criticism, breathe, ask if it's true, respond with logic, not defense. Someone disrespects you, step back, observe their weakness, hold your composure. Plans fall apart, feel the sting, stay calm, adjust. Fear rises. Don't fight it, but don't let it dictate your next move. The point is not to become numb. The point is to become centered. The Stoics lived this. They didn't suppress emotion. They mastered their space between stimulus and response. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." You see? He doesn't say feel less. He says, judge differently, interpret consciously, respond from wisdom, not reaction. We live in a world of knee-jerk reflex, cancel culture, online, rage, text fights, emotional outbursts over things that don't even matter the next morning. And every time you participate in that chaos, you surrender your sovereignty. But when you don't react, you reclaim yourself, not with silence, with choice. Discipline and response creates freedom in life, because when your emotions don't control you, you become dangerous, in the best way. You can walk into conflict, be calm, you can hear rejection, grounded, you can face loss, present. That's the kind of strength no gym builds. That's the kind of discipline no school teaches. You earn it in the pause. So build your pause like a muscle. Inhale through the nose. Exhale slow. Count to 3. Let the heat rise. Let it pass. Then, respond. From presence. From vision. From truth. Not tension. Because reactivity is expensive. It ruins relationships. It drains energy. It creates unnecessary enemies. And worst of all, it delays growth. While calm, decisive response, it builds reputation. It earns trust. It reflects power. Not the kind that intimidates, the kind that inspires. You want to lead? Learn to speak after the emotion passes. You want to win? Let the reaction burn on in silence. Let the clarity speak after the fire goes out, because anything said in heat will only leave ashes. But what's said from center, that becomes legacy. So next time you feel it rising, the urge to shout, to snap, to put them in their place, pause, control, first, then respond. That's how you keep your peace. That's how you protect your mission. That's how you stay unshakable. There is no line, no gatekeeper, no stamp of approval. No one is standing between you and the next level, except the version of you still waiting for permission. You've been conditioned to ask, to wait, to hope someone says, yes, you're ready. You're allowed to change, you're allowed to go further. But improvement doesn't come through approval. It comes through action. And the truth is brutal. Nobody is coming to validate your breakthrough. Nobody is required to understand your transformation. Nobody owes you encouragement. And still, you rise. You're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose yourself. Think about it. How many dreams have died because someone else wasn't ready for your next level? How many steps have you delayed because you were afraid someone would say, "Who do you think you are?" Here's the answer. You're the one who was willing to change when it was uncomfortable. You're the one who didn't wait for the stars to align. You aligned your decisions with your future self, not your past surroundings. Permission is a cage. You're the key. You do not need a better childhood, a more understanding circle, a more forgiving past, a cleaner timeline. You just need one thing: the decision to move anyway, to build anyway, to try again, this time without asking. Look around the people you admire. They didn't wait. They didn't ask the world to soften. They didn't wait for applause. They didn't request a moment of clarity. They moved. They started ugly. They failed loudly. They learned quietly. And they earned everything by refusing to wait for validation. You want change? Then stop explaining. yourself to people who haven't changed. Stop needing approval from people who benefit from your stagnation. Stop asking broken systems to give you permission to be whole. You are not here to be understood. You are here to become undeniable. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus was born into slavery. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. Different paths, same power. No external thing can prevent you from choosing your own response, and that response is your freedom. So take it back. Your permission slip? You write it. Want to build your body? Start today. No one needs to clap. Want to leave a toxic space? Walk. Even if they call you selfish. Want to speak your truth? Say it. Even if your voice shakes, you're not here to please them. You're here to grow beyond them. This doesn't mean you stop listening. It means you stop waiting. It means you stop putting your power in the hands of people who haven't done the work you're doing, because your path will threaten them. Your standards will expose theirs. Your progress will mirror their stagnation, and their discomfort is not your responsibility. Let them doubt you. Let them gossip. Let them roll their eyes. Let them say, "She's changed." You have. And thank God you did. Because staying small just to be accepted, that's the most violent form of self-betrayal. This is your life. This is your body. This is your time. And the clock doesn't care who claps. It only counts the minutes you spent building, not the ones you spent waiting. So stop waiting for the green light. You are the driver. Press the gas. Even if it's messy. Even if no one gets it yet. One step, then another, then another. Until one day the same people who said, "Who does he think he is?" will whisper, "How did he do it?" And you'll know the truth. You didn't ask. You decided. Everyone wants to feel strong, clear, unshakable, focused. But life doesn't hand you strength. It hands you moments. Moments when your chest tightens, when your thoughts race, when your discipline flickers, when the easy way out calls you by. Amen. And in those moments, when your energy is low and your mind is scattered, you're not failing. You're being trained. Weak moments aren't the opposite of strength. They are the arena where strength is born. But here's the problem. We waste them. We see pain as a problem. We see confusion as failure. We see temptation as proof that we're not ready, so we escape. We scroll. We numb. We justify. We say, "Not today. I'll be better tomorrow." But strength isn't built tomorrow, it's built right there and in the middle of the storm. You want real growth? Then stop running from the moment you feel weakest. Start leaning into it. Start asking, what muscle is this pain asking me to grow? What pattern is this urge trying to break? What lesson is hidden in this exact discomfort? Because that moment, it's not random. It's training ground. Think about it. Anyone can be disciplined when they're rested. Anyone can be wise when they're not triggered. Anyone can be calm when everything's going their way. But the test, the real test, is when your plan falls apart, your heart feels heavy, your mind whispers, "Quit," and you don't. Not because it's easy, because you've chosen integrity over indulgence. Weak moments aren't proof you're broken. They're proof you're human, and how you meet them defines who you become. The Stoics called this preparation for life. They didn't run from hardship. They rehearsed it. They leaned into discomfort daily, so that when real pain arrived, they had already trained their response. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." They knew weakness wasn't to be feared. It was to be met with discipline. Here's how it looks. You feel the urge to scroll. Instead of giving in, You breathe. You feel the desire to lash out. Instead of exploding, you pause. You feel the sadness, the chaos, the hunger to escape. And instead of numbing it, you stay. With it. In it. Through it. That is the rep. That is the work. That is the exact moment you train your nervous system to say, "We don't run anymore, we respond." That's strength, not in theory, in practice. So next time the weakness hits, don't panic, don't scroll, don't beg to be rescued, just stop, breathe, notice, and remind yourself this isn't punishment. This is practice. Practice for when it's worse. Practice for when it's louder. Practice for when the stakes are higher. Because if you can hold your line now, you're ready for whatever comes next. Weakness is not the enemy. Avoidance is. You want to level up? Start using your low moments as leverage. Use the tension as fuel. Use the doubt as data. Use the pain as proof that you're exactly where growth begins. And don't wait for the moment to pass. Don't hope to feel stronger first. Train inside the tension, because the strongest people you know, they don't avoid discomfort. They just got really good at standing in the fire without letting it burn their identity. So next time life tests you, don't say, "Why now?" Say, "Perfect, let's train." Anger is fast. It doesn't knock, it doesn't wait, it floods. Your chest tightens, your jaw clenches, your voice rises. Suddenly your clarity is gone, your power hijacked, your identity blurred. And in that moment, anger whispers, "Let me speak. Let me act. Let me take over." But what anger never tells you is what it will cost. You won't be punished for your anger. You'll be punished by it. By what you say that can't be unsaid. By what you break that can't be repaired. By what you abandon in a storm you created yourself. Because anger always feels justified, but it rarely leaves you proud. This is the paradox. Anger feels powerful, but it robs you of your real power, which is control. It promises release, but delivers regret. It speaks of justice, but delivers destruction. You want strength? Then learn to break the pattern, not by suppressing anger, but by understanding it, holding it, channeling it. Anger is not evil. It's energy. It's data. It's an alert that something inside you feels threatened, violated, unseen. But energy, without direction, becomes chaos. And that chaos will turn on you if you don't learn to redirect it. You think you're fighting them, but you're really fighting yourself. Every untrained burst of anger weakens your structure. Every emotional reaction trains your nervous system to panic under pressure. And slowly, without realizing it, you become a slave to your own flame. The Stoics knew this. Seneca wrote an entire book called On Anger. He called it the most hideous and frenzied of all the emotions. Not because emotion is bad, but because untrained emotion becomes self-destruction. He said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Think about that. The thing that hurts you most might not be what they did, it's how you responded. So how do you train it? First, pause. Yes, you feel the fire. Yes, your body wants to lash out. But this is the moment, the rep, the pivot point. Breathe, drop your shoulders, feel the heat, and stay conscious. Second, label it, say it aloud. This is anger. This is energy, not identity. You're not an angry person, you're a person feeling anger. And that difference? It creates space. Third, redirect into a workout. into a journal, into silence, into a decision made later from logic, not heat. That's how warriors are made, not by suppressing emotion, by learning to harness it. You don't have to destroy to express. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to attack to defend your ground. Sometimes the most powerful move is to do nothing, not as avoidance, as discipline. Because what happens when you hold your anger is that clarity comes, and clarity is more dangerous than rage. Clarity makes decisions that last. Rage makes noise that fades. You want to be unstoppable? Be the one who walks away before the explosion. Be the one who responds 3 hours later with calm. Be the one who says, "You won't control me with chaos, and I won't lose myself trying." To match your noise, that's not weakness, that's emotional dominance. So next time the fire rises, don't feed it. Feel it, own it, redirect it, and remind yourself, I don't serve anger, I command it. And because of that, I will not be punished by it. There's a silence most people can't handle. The silence of building, the silence of consistency, the silence of waking up early, while no one claps. We live in a world obsessed with being seen, with documenting the grind, with announcing every step of the process. But what if your next level doesn't need noise? What if it needs silence? Nobody needs to know you're working. They'll know when the results show up, not through your posts, through your presence, not through your words, through your walk. You see, progress doesn't always make a sound, but it always leaves a trace. And those who are truly locked in, they don't seek attention, they seek alignment. Because when your energy goes into proving, you subtract it from becoming. Every time you interrupt the work to announce it, you dilute its power. True discipline is quiet, unshakable. Not because it hides, but because it doesn't need validation. You want power? Disappear into the work. Vanishing isn't weakness, it's focus. It's choosing results over recognition. It's letting your output speak the language your ego used to scream in. Here's the shift. You no longer measure your progress by how others react. You measure it by how much you respect yourself at the end of the day. You don't have to tell them you're healing. Your energy will shift. You don't have to tell them you're learning, your words will sharpen. You don't have to tell them you've been training, your walk will say it for you. This is the art of private greatness. You don't need witnesses to evolve. You just need standards. The Stoics practiced this without hashtags, without timelines, without applause. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the code. Stop describing it. Become it. Let them wonder where you went. Let them speculate. Let them think you're done while you're building, while you're refining, while you're laying brick after brick. No noise, just structure. Because when it's time, you won't need to reintroduce yourself. Your discipline will speak. Your results will arrive. And the world will hear you without you ever raising your voice. Here's how to live this. Build routines no one sees. Study in silence. Master the craft when it's boring. Train alone. Execute without the need for congratulations. Fall in love with progress no one claps for. Because that kind of fire, it's untouchable. It's not for show. It's for you. They don't need to see the work. They'll see the results. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them underestimate you. While you focus. While you lock in. While you become the version of you that no longer explains anything, he just delivers. So the next time you feel the itch to show your process, pause. Ask, is this for alignment or for approval? If it's the second, put the phone down and go deeper into the work, Because when the time comes and the world finally sees what you've built, they'll ask, "When did this happen?" And you'll smile, not arrogantly, but with calm, and say, "When no one was watching." There's a kind of success that doesn't come with fireworks. No spotlight, no viral post, no sudden applause. It arrives like a sunrise, slow, subtle, and certain. And by the time the world notices it, you've already earned it in silence. If it's meant for you, you won't have to force it, but you will have to prepare for it, deeply, quietly, without recognition, because what's meant for you doesn't come when you want it. It comes when you've become the version of you strong enough to hold it. And that version, he is not born from hope. He is built through repetition. He is not shaped by hype. He is forged in silence. This world wants you loud. It wants you visible. It wants you constantly documenting your every move. But growth doesn't ask for an audience. It asks for devotion. There are no shortcuts here. Only standards. No lucky breaks. Only reps. No external validations. Only internal alignment. If it's meant for you, you don't chase it. You align with it. You calibrate your habits to match the weight of it. You stretch your patience to meet the timing of it. You sharpen your character to carry it. Because if you receive what you're not ready to sustain, you'll lose it. Not from lack of luck, but from lack of capacity. And capacity is trained in the dark, in the early hours, in the quiet days, in the unseen efforts that no one claps for. So let them think you disappeared. Let them assume you've slowed down. Let them wonder where your fire went, because what they don't see is how deep you've gone. Not wide, not loud, deep. Where the real work is. You don't owe the world updates. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe proof of progress. Your only responsibility is to become the version of you that your future deserves. That means letting go of timelines, surrendering to the pace of real transformation, choosing depth over speed, choosing process over popularity, choosing truth even when it's lonely. Because when it's truly yours, it doesn't require performance. It requires preparation. There's a reason the strongest trees grow slow. Because roots take time. Because silence is not absence, and it's foundation. You may be in a season right now where nothing seems to be happening. No recognition, no big wins, just repetition, just effort, just the work. And that's exactly where you're supposed to be. This is your training ground. This is your becoming. If it's meant for you, it will find you still working, still showing up, still refining, even when no one sees it. And when it does show up, it won't feel like luck. It'll feel like alignment, because deep down you'll know, I didn't wait for this. I became the version of me who could receive it. So what do you do until then? You keep building. You keep choosing integrity over urgency. You keep committing to the boring things that no one sees. Because those boring things, those quiet days, they're the exact price of what's meant for you. People will ask later, how did it happen? When did the shift come? And you'll answer, not arrogantly but clearly, when I stopped rushing, when I stopped seeking approval, when I let go of proving and focused on preparing. You will earn it, not by pushing harder, but by going deeper, by honoring the silence, by trusting the process, by realizing it's not about if it's coming, it's about who I choose to be until it does. So let this be your code now. Don't rush, don't explain, don't beg, don't compare, don't collapse. Stay solid, stay invisible if you must. Stay in the work, because the world will know when the results show up. But more importantly, you will know. You'll know you didn't skip steps. You didn't beg for shortcuts. You didn't dilute your values just to speed up the win. You earned it. And you earned it in silence. You've studied enough. You've planned enough. You've imagined, visualized, and prepared enough. Now is the time, not to announce, not to impress, not to explain, but to embody. Everything you've learned, every standard you've raised, every discipline you've practiced in silence, it wasn't for display. It was for becoming. And now, you don't need more quotes. You don't need another reminder. You don't need the world to believe in your potential. You just need to live like it's already real. Make your routines the evidence. Make your walk the witness. Make your eyes reflect the fire you no longer need to talk about. This is the moment you stop looking back. You stop checking if they're watching. You stop measuring progress by applause. Because from here on, your life is the message, the way you rise, the way you eat, the way you train, the way you breathe through resistance, the way you lead, even when no one follows, the way you build, even when no one claps, the way you stay calm, even when everything around you falls apart. That is the proof. Not your words, not your videos, not your opinions, your presence. You don't need a brand. You don't need a stage. You don't need validation. You need alignment, internal, invisible, indisputable. The kind of alignment that makes people pause and wonder, what changed? And the answer? Nothing. I just finally decided to live like I meant it. You no longer have to become anything. Now, you just be sharp, be steady, be solid, especially when the world tries to shake you. Your consistency will be louder than their doubt. Your stillness will be more powerful than their noise. Your silence will speak more than their opinions ever could. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them forget. Because when your life becomes the proof, they always remember. Not with applause, with respect. The quiet kind, the deep kind, the kind that only follows those who don't need to be followed. From this moment forward, you don't explain your values, you live them. You don't announce your growth, you become undeniable. You don't chase status, you embody substance. People don't need to know your story. They just need to feel your standards, the way you look them in the eye, the way you say no, calmly, the way you protect your peace, the way you give without needing credit, the way you move without asking permission. That's not arrogance. That's earned clarity. You're not here to be right. You're here to be real. You're not here to compete. You're here to complete the mission you said you would, long before anyone believed in you. And that mission? It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Right about your discipline. Right about your purpose. Right about your decision to walk away from the noise and build in silence. Because the only voice that matters now is the one inside you that says, keep going. We're just getting started. So make your next move private. Make your focus invisible. Make your standards untouchable. Let your life become so grounded, so refined, so built on truth, that nothing shakes you. Not delay, not doubt, not noise, not even success. Because true discipline doesn't just resist distraction. It resists ego, and true power doesn't need to speak. It just enters the room, and everything shifts. You want legacy? Then live in a way that your grandchildren don't need a story. They'll feel it, in how you stood, in how you carried yourself, in how your life without a single word became the proof.